It is a matter of trust. Yes, it is. You trust us that we'll have our Sunday gathering each and every week, and you bet we will. So, welcome everybody to our Sunday gathering number 173. If we haven't met yet, I am hostess with the mostest, Sandra Champlain, joined by my friends Kerry McLeod, Phil Dykes, and Darren Wynn. Yay! It sounds like I've had a little too much caffeine, right? I actually drink decaf, but if you can imagine caffeine, you may need it first thing in the morning to get you energized for the day. Well, our Sunday gathering is kind of like that. We want to energize you for the week, let you know that you're not alone, that you are loved, maybe give you a little tools, little bits and pieces of things that can empower you through the week, and then definitely let you know in the unseen world around you, there's lots of love and our loved ones are there. And with that, we welcome you. That's all I need to say. Darren has created our Sunday gathering. I'll turn it over to him. He's picked all the music, the order of service, and I'll let him explain a little bit on why. So over to you, Darren.
Thank you for that, Sandra, and thank you for that wonderful intro. And welcome to all of you. Sunday Gathering 173. And you know what? That's only been possible because you guys have had the trust in us to do this week in and week out. So for that, we thank you. The theme for this week I've come up with is trust. I'll go into more of it a bit later on in the gathering. But when you think in today's world, trust is more important than ever. Who do we trust? What do we trust? How do we trust? There's so much going on out there. You know, you look at social media and people are scamming people and copying people and doing all sorts of things. But there's a bit more to why I came to this theme of trust, which we'll go on to a bit later. But for today's Sunday gathering, there is myself who'll be chairperson, and I've created the music, or not created the music, I've come up with the music for this week. If I could create it, I'd be a millionaire by now. And I'll also be doing part of the address with Sandra. You've got Sandra, as she's already said, our hostess for the mostess, who will be doing all behind the scenes and will be taking part in the address also, and also doing our healing segment. Then you have the wonderful duo Phil and Kerry, who will be doing our prayers for this week and our mediumship for this week, and also our words for the week, which I'm looking forward to the whole gathering and spending time together as one. And for our reading today, we've actually done something a little bit different. We've got a video for this reading. So sit back, ladies and gents, hopefully enjoy, and I'll hand you over to Phil to open us up in prayer.
Thank you for that wonderful welcome, Darren. It's always a pleasure to be here with you, Sandra and Kerry, all together as one team. But it is that moment, ladies and gentlemen, that we open our Sunday gathering in what we call prayer, a silent reflection where we can add your own words as I begin in that prayer. So please, ladies and gentlemen, join me by going into that divine silence and taking a moment of reflection for yourself. Divine source of love and light, we come before you in this sacred gathering, united in pursuit of a spiritual growth and understanding. As we gather today, our hearts are open, our minds and souls are open in that receptive divine presence of yours. It is in this moment of reflection we center ourselves on the theme of trust, to trust oneself and to recognize that trust is a foundation of our spiritual journey, where it will flourish in its unwavering belief. It is your divine wisdom and guidance that we seek, but most of all, Father, that love in what we trust, that we will love that guidance you give us within our lives, that guidance not just within our lives, but within our friendships, as we trust those all around us more than we realize. It is that love, upliftment, but that guidance that we seek of yours to deepen our trust in the truth of life, that truth of life and where it leads us within this world, to the many experiences we have of life, opening our eyes and minds to the wonders that you bestow upon us, from the nature that is all around us, to that daily sunshine that we take for granted, that each day that sun rises and darkens in the evening, allowing us to experience moments together. It is, as always, under the banner of We Don't Die within this gathering that we join as brother and sister with open hearts, knowing that there is no boundaries of mountains or waters of seas that separate us, because here within this space of consciousness, we are all love and we are all one. And it is with that intention within our hearts and minds that we open this service today to bring forward that truth, that compassion, that understanding, but also that love that we share for one another. It is here, Father, that we ask for that upliftment for each worker gathered before you, to gather before you in a truth of light, a light that shines brightly upon this world and within this world. As each time we speak, that light is heard by others. It is seen by others too, bringing forth that truth, that authentic self that is here to shine. As it is your light within us that shines brightly, knowing that we're all connected to that divine source, brings that upliftment and power and richness of life too. It is here, Father, as we all join together in that trust that we have in each other and of you. Amen.
Thank you so much, Phil. Beautiful opening words. We're going to play a video now instead of a reading. And when Darren sent me this, I watched and I had one of those aha moments. I don't know if we've ever spoken about trust on a Sunday gathering. And in my world, either you trust somebody or you don't, or either we're trustworthy or we aren't, which is pretty cut and dry. And this fellow gave me an opening to a new way of thinking that I think for all of us may shed some light on new ways of being, perhaps even a little forgiveness. So let's watch. I hope those words were meaningful for you as they were for me. I think I've put up the prison walls with some people. I do. As we move into our healing segment, you can reflect upon some of those words or just be present to the words of the songs. All the songs chosen today by Darren really have some powerful words as far as trust goes. But for our healing segment, this is a beautiful time to just offer your love to the unseen forces around us. Let us send them to wherever they need to be. If there's someone special in your life that needs a bit of healing, or maybe even yourself, picture them healthy, well, whole, vibrant, alive. That's it. Simple as that. And send some love. Again, if you'd like to listen to the lyrics of the song, it is a good one.
I love that song, Trust in You. And if you think in today's world, like I mentioned earlier, trust is such a big thing at the moment. And well, for me in particular, it is, who do you trust? What do you trust? How do you trust? And I think one of the biggest things is trusting, as that song said, in ourselves. We trust in ourselves to certain degrees. We can trust ourselves to get up in the morning. We can trust ourselves to get dressed in the morning. We can trust ourselves to look after our health and maybe look after others. But what about when it comes to doing things, challenging ourselves, coming out of our comfort zones? That's when we seem to relinquish that trust in ourselves. We don't trust ourselves to do stuff. We don't trust ourselves to achieve that. We don't trust ourselves to go after our dreams, after our goals. And like the words that Sadhguru said, when you learn to trust in other people, whatever they do, it's all right with you. Why can't we twist that on ourselves? Turn that phrase around. Whatever we do, it's all right with us. So when you're looking at coming out of your comfort zone and achieving your goals and your aspirations, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not achieve what you want to achieve, but as long as you give it a go. Sometimes, and I'm the biggest one, hands up, I trust myself to get up in the morning. I trust myself to get dressed and do all the basic day-to-day stuff. But when it comes to challenging myself to do new things, achieve new goals, go for my ambitions, whatever it may be, that's when my trust relinquishes and goes back within. But actually listen to Sadhguru's words. I'll reflect on that now and never forget that phrase. whatever they do, it's all right with you. And I think we need to give ourselves that permission as well, that whatever we do is okay with us. So we need to look at the trust we have within ourselves, and we need to strengthen that. And then when it comes to trusting others, I'm the biggest skeptic, when it comes to trusting others. But there's many different aspects and, areas when we talk about trusting others. If we look at our work and our personal lives in relation to finance and security, my trust barrier is right up there. I question and challenge everything when it comes to work and personal finance and security, because that's what it is. It's money, it's security. I'm not just going to allow someone to carry out that on my behalf or do this or do that without my full, they're never going to have my trust. I will question and challenge everything. And like I said, I can only talk from experience, but when we talk about work environments, I've been managing many big corporations. And as many of you know, the buck stops with you. No matter what's happened, who's done what, the buck stops with you. And that's where I find it hard to relinquish trust when your name's on the line or your job's on the line, so to speak. It's very hard to relinquish that trust and give that trust to people, especially when it comes to finances and what have you. And I could probably take some of the words of advice from Sadhguru and what he said about trusting in others. But I find it very difficult, especially when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I remember one day I was in a store in central London looking after it, and I was called in to sign off the banking, before the security company come to take it off to wherever they take it. So I've gone in there and, the guy said to me, "Can you just sign this?" I said, "No, there's £50,000 that I'm signing my name to that I haven't checked." I said, "I want every single bag opened. I will personally count it and personally check it before I sign anything off," just as well as I did, because believe it or not, there was money missing. He was actually stealing. And to thought, if I had given my trust in that one individual, I could have lost my job, my career, I could have lost everything. So I think when it comes to certain things, you have to have your trust barrier right up there. When it comes to your own personal banking, your own personal finances, question and challenge everything. And we've all got a thing, gut instinct. If it doesn't feel right, it's usually not right. And there's a saying, sometimes things are too good to be true. So when you get these people coming to you and offering you with this and offering you with this great deal, always double check it. I felt guilty to this one time. I fell into the trap of doing one of these things with work. And I got myself £1,000 bill because of it. And I've learnt now I will never, ever trust in anyone in that capacity from a business or finance capacity. I'll always challenge and question everything. And to me, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because you're putting a lot of trust when it comes to that kind of things in people. But when it comes to your day-to-day work, when we look at doctors, nurses, etc., they've got to have the trust in each other. Can you imagine a doctor, carrying out a major operation? He needs to trust in all these people around him when he's fulfilling that operation. And it leads me on to, I just want to read this article that I came across. And this is what kind of gave me the whole inspiration for the theme of trust. I found it on social media, of all things. A group of professors were called and sat on a plane. When the doors were closed and the plane is about to take off, all the professors were informed that this plane is made by their students. Then all of a sudden, the professors rushed towards the plane doors, trying to escape and survive on their own, with the exception of one professor who remained seated with so much confidence and calmness. Someone asked him, "Why are you not escaping the plane?" The professor answered him with confidence, "They are our students." "Are you sure you taught them well?" was the response. To which the professor said, "I'm sure the plane won't fly." So for me, when I read that, it kind of hit me and it meant a lot. I thought, you've got all these professors that have taught these students to make a plane, so to speak. But you've got all these professors, when they find out their students that they've taught have devised or made this plane, they've evacuated as quick as they can. And the one professor that remained sat there confident, knowing that the plane wouldn't fly. Well, and then I started out, well, why are they teaching these people? They obviously don't trust what they're teaching people, but they also don't trust in what their students are capable of doing. And I think this is so prevalent when it comes to work. You know, when I look at my particular work, you know, when I have people in, and I'm guilty of it, I don't trust or anything, you know, I don't relinquish trust very easy whatsoever. And that made me think, actually, maybe I should be more trusting of my staff. If I'm training them to do a particular staff, I shouldn't have to stand over their shoulders and watch what they're doing and critique what they're doing. You know, I should have to trust in what I'm doing is correct, and hopefully they can fulfill that. But I myself, hands up, I need to be one of these people that does relinquish control. Like Sadhguru said, whatever they do, it's all right with you. And I need to really learn and embed that in myself. Because like I said, I'm one of the worst critics for that. And I'm sure many of you guys out there can put your hand up and say exactly the same thing. But when you think about it in a work capacity, if you don't relinquish that control, like me, you'll end up doing everything, running around like a headless chicken, becoming exhausted, stressed, tired, while the people you've employed to do the job are stood by watching you run around like a headless chicken, you know, thinking, look at that madman, you know, he's running around doing the job that he employed me to do. So for me, those words that Sadhguru said kind of really hit home. And when it comes to friendships, relationships, again, that's a difficult one, isn't it, to show and relinquish trust. You know, you think sometimes when people become friends, what are they there for? How are they going to use me? What am I providing for them? All those kind of things come into your head. And I'll let you into a little story. Me and Scott met many, many years ago. I can't remember how many years ago now, so many years ago. I knew Scott for 3 years before I even knew the subject of mediumship, spiritualism even existed. And that's how I think friendships be the best forms of, you know, best ways of forming friendships is all relationships. It's people not knowing about you, because you know they're not there for this, they're not there for what you can do for them, how much you can give them. They're with you because you are who you are. I know we always talk about that, you know, and people say to us sometimes, oh, doesn't Scott do this? No, he doesn't. You know, we met, like I said, I knew Scott 3 years before I knew anything about mediumship or spiritualism, let alone that he was involved in it. And for me, that was a good basis, you know, for our relationship to begin, because he wasn't there for what I was able to provide, and vice versa. We was there for who I was and who he was. And I think that's the same in a lot of friendships. You know, when you've got, and you can always weed them out quite easily and quite quickly. When you've got friends that's there for money or there for what you can do for them or what you can provide for them, that becomes quite evident quite early on. And I'm always, because I'm a cautious person when it comes to trust, I always try and think out the other way as well when I become friends with people. And a dear friend of mine I've been friends with for 30 odd years. And one day we went to a friend's funeral and we got talking and reminiscing at the end. And I was going through hard times. And I never forget, she offered to give me money to help me out. And as much as it would have been a great thing to do, I said no, because I don't want something like that to ruin a friendship or for them to feel that I'm there for other reasons than the friendship that we've got. And it's when I saw that, I said, when I saw this video about, or this article about the professors and the plane and the students and that, it kind of got me thinking to a whole host of things around trust. And the one bit of advice I could give to all of you, always approach things with that air of caution. We all have that inner knowing, that inner, you know, that gut feeling. We know when things are right or things are wrong. But sometimes we need to relinquish that trust, and we need to have the faith to relinquish that trust, more so in ourselves, I think, than anything else. And I think once we start to relinquish the trust in ourselves and have complete trust in ourselves, then I think everything else will kind of fall into place. Your trust in others, your trust in relationships, friends, all that kind of thing will kind of start to fall into place more once we relinquish that trust in ourselves. So don't forget, you guys are the priority. Remember, trust, trust, and trust. And now hand you to someone else I trust, which is Sandra Champlain.
Oh, thank you very much. Great words, Darren. For me, that reading that we just heard by Sadhguru, it really just struck me just where I needed to be struck, I suppose. When we're little and we grow up, we see our elders and we think, oh, they're so wise. They know so many things, but we never stop learning. Even when we do get older, there's even more to learn. You may look at Kerry, Phil, Darren, and I, and, we come up every Sunday and these words of wisdom, right? So you think we have it all handled. No, we're still learning as well. There was a time, and I think I still am, we've got that judgmental sense, right? So I've learned something about trust today. So I'm in that inner inquiry. I certainly am, like maybe you are too. But as a young girl, I did my share of lying. Yes, I did. Even into my teenage years, probably even into my 20s, till I realized the impact that not telling the truth had on someone else. As a young girl, can I say that my friend and I didn't go into a supermarket, maybe take a candy bar that we didn't pay for? No integrity there, but kid and growing up, I see the impact of all of those kind of behaviors. Darren mentioned, somebody wanted to loan him money. I have done my fair share of loaning people money and never to get it back. And at one point, well, for a long time, I made those people wrong. I lost friendships, even some people that were close friends to me. They disappeared after taking the money. So I made them wrong. Like, I wouldn't trust them again. And I made this decision. I will never again loan money unless I expect not to give it back. And so there's freedom. There certainly is. But it's looking at how much I've either imprisoned myself about trust or really have made judgments about other people. So it really did strike me listening to that reading of how judgmental I've been on people that I haven't trusted. I'm thankful that we do keep on learning. We do. And so we can forgive ourselves. We can forgive other people. I truly believe unless you've walked in somebody else's shoes, you have no idea the actions they have. A lot of people don't show up on the Sunday gathering. They don't read books. They don't look at courses that are empowering and powerful and help them on their journey to be human. They just simply live life. So integrity, honesty, truth, being trustworthy may not be things that they look at. Is it right? Is it wrong? Well, like I say, you can only truly judge someone if you've been in their shoes. I found a whole bunch of compassion when I look from the lens of what somebody's life might have been like. I found this book. I don't know if you can see it. It's called The Littles. And there's my handwriting from being little. One of my favorite books as a kid. And I have been going through big boxes of photographs just this past week. And I found that book, and I remember being a kid and I never wanted to grow up. I thought things were going to get tough when I grow up. I'm happy just staying small. You trust your parents. I think we are born into being trusting. I think it's natural for us to trust. We don't get on an airplane and think, oh, what if? No, we trust it's going to take us to our destination. We're good, trustworthy people, big trusting people. But things happen in life, and then we start saying, wow, maybe I shouldn't trust again. How many people have I met that have had a relationship suffer? So for instance, a man finds out his wife is cheating on him. He didn't see it coming. Of course, it devastated him. But all the future relationships he's been in, he brought that first wife. Not literally, but he wasn't himself. He wasn't open. He wasn't loving. He wasn't trusting. He thought, the day's going to come that you're going to hurt me. So what kept happening in his life is time and time again, the girl didn't want to be with him because of his actions, but he could continue to make her wrong. I've been through that myself. Many people have. And some of the earliest judgments we have really have this ripple effect in our life. So you don't have to go through the work and go back to the very first instance where you weren't trusting. But maybe for yourself, what piece of your past are you dragging forward in your future? And listen to said guru. You've put up a prison not only around other people, but around yourself. I'd like to just mention forgiveness. Forgiveness for some is a tough pill to swallow because some people think forgiveness means telling somebody what you did was correct. And of course, we know there's people that do some really awful things, and what they did was not correct. That's not what forgiveness is to me. I heard once someone say, to not forgive is like ingesting rat poison yourself, but then waiting for the other person to die. So we stew upon whatever is holding us back, wherever we don't want to forgive, and it's hurting us and it's hurting our life. That other person is carrying on, probably not even thinking of you, but inside we have this turmoil. So forgiveness is just letting go, taking it out of yourself, regardless of what the other person does. You know, whether there's karma, whether there's a life review, whether we're all responsible for our actions, that's on them. How do I choose to live my life? I choose to live my life being trusting and trustworthy. There are times that I make mistakes, and I do every single time either apologize or I didn't know any better. I'm truthful about it. Integrity is a very important thing because we want people to look at us that we're trustworthy. I do my very best to be on time. If I make an appointment, I keep it. If I set a time to meet with somebody in person or on Zoom, I try to be 5 minutes early. All those little things have an impact on others, but they also personally give me strength. You know, if you look to some of the great leaders we have in the world, it's because they had integrity. And like I said, it doesn't mean we have to be perfect. We need to do the best we can and let people know when mistakes happen. It's as simple as that. But I want to be someone that people trust me. You know, if we showed up on if you showed up on the Sunday gathering every week and we were late, you know, you would maybe have a little judgment about us. But we never do because we're here for you. There is integrity in everything we do, all the classes we teach, the education our Sunday gathering to me is magical. It's miraculous. We join the two worlds. It's not like they're already not joined. They are. Our loved ones are around us more often than not. They're cheering us on. But to be here with you and get to see and experience the communication with our mediums. Of course, we've got Kerry and Phil here today. That's a miracle. Not everybody in the world is here. Not everybody shows up and says, you know what, this is what I'm up for. Not everybody says, I want to expand my soul. I want to get my money's worth out of life. I want to just experience all there is to experience. They're not here, but you are. So we try to bring that integrity. I want to just tell you one more thing that's been happening this past week is I've been back digging through my genealogy. I love doing that. Every now and again, I go onto ancestry.com and I just find out all kinds of things. My great grandfather was Italian, came over to the United States from Italy in the year 1906. His surname was not Champlain like mine. His name was Pasquale D'Annunzio. Old Pasquale came over from Italy as a young man. I think he was 21. He had 3 children with a woman named Hortense Champlain, very close to my last name. That's how I got my last name, went from Champlain to Champlain. But old Pasquale D'Annunzio, after having a couple of kids with this woman, and I don't know if they were married, I can't find marriage certificates, but after a couple of kids, he changed his name to Patsy D'Annunzio, different spelling. And he went on to have 7 children with lady number 2. I can probably guess that my great grandmother may not have been so trustworthy. trusting of this guy. I don't know too much about him. I do know that I've got some second and third cousins, a ton of them out there in the world. And so I enjoy looking up these things. But to think about trust and to think about who he was as a 21-year-old. We think of our parents, it's so easy to make them wrong for some of the things they did, not realizing they were just children themselves when that age. So I'm not giving D'Annunzio the green flag that all of his actions were okay, but I don't know life at the time. And I was sharing this with my aunt because now Pasquale would be her grandfather. She says, "Oh, what a dog he was, for all these children." And then I said, "Yeah, Auntie, but he was our dog, right? Because without him, we wouldn't have a Sunday gathering. We needed him and his actions every step of the way so that we are here today." So I'm not God and I'm not the jury and I don't know what life was like, but I can probably guarantee that through his lineage, there's been a lot of love. There's been marriages, weddings, celebrations, babies born. All kinds of good things have come from it. I wasn't in his shoes. I wasn't in my great-grandmother's shoes. I'm grateful she kept the name, and my grandfather and his siblings changed it from Champlain to Champlain. They came up with a big story that their parents were killed in a train wreck. None of that was true. And again, I trust my grandfather. He's now in the spirit world. But for whatever reason, as a 16-year-old man, that was his choice. That's what he knew to do, and that was the best thing possible. So I just really want to leave you with what Sadhguru said. Take away the prison walls. Don't be so hard on yourself and so hard on others. Does it mean that we have to keep trusting people if they hurt us? No, we need to look out for our own health, our own responsibility, our own integrity. There's a saying, hurt me once, shame on you. Hurt me twice, shame on me. You have to navigate your life. And yeah, there are times that we've been too generous, too loving, and it's maybe come back to hurt us. But I do think out of every situation, there was an opportunity to learn, to grow. And not only that, is we get to share. I bet you anything, you're going to meet somebody on your path and your words are just what they need to hear because you have been there. So lighten up. I'd like to offer everyone, be in the driver's seat of your life. You can forgive. You can love. Be you. Don't put up those prison walls. And if you can just dial up your own personal integrity, be the person people expect you to be, be true to your word, be honest, best you can, show up, be on time, all of those things you'd like someone else to do. I do think it'll transform your life, and I think it'll give you an edge and power that you never saw before. So that, my friends, is my share of the address today. With that, we are going to move on to our demonstration of mediumship. And we have my dearest friends, Kerry and Phil, who are our mediums today. Longtime mediums, they've both been at this for over 25 years. And of course, they teach our classes online and live events. They have a commitment to the spirit world and to humanity because we're lucky enough that we have our fingers to type, send text messages, make phone calls. We have our voice to speak. Those in the spirit world, they want us to know that they are alive and well, but they don't have it as easy as we have it. So thankfully, there are some professional and properly trained mediums in the world, and that we get to see in action loved ones getting their messages across. So I know we have several people who are at our Sunday gathering for the first time today, and we have a lot of repeaters who have been here before, and we thank all of you. But let me just let you know a little bit how this goes. Kerry and Phil will send a message to friends in the spirit world. Use me, They will put images, thoughts, feelings, memories. They are going to use Kerry and Phil's bank of memories and imagination. And they trust. They have to trust. Because here's the thing, when things come into our imagination, very often we just think, oh, we're crazy. They have to trust like no other that it's the folks in the spirit world putting those images and feelings into them. So you'll hear Kerry or Phil give a couple of initial bits of information about the person that is connecting with them. It could be a loved one. It could be a family member, it could be a friend, it could be somebody a little distant. So we want you to listen in. The spirit world knows exactly who's at our Sunday gathering. You might be out for a walk on a park bench thinking, oh, they don't know I'm here. Oh, yes, they do. The spirit world has such an intelligence. When Kerry or Phil gives those first initial few bits of information, if you can recognize that the person they're describing is your person. Now, they no longer walk this earth, but they're your person. You know them or you know who they are. We want you to press your raise hand button. So this is the time for everybody, even if you've been here 173 times before, go find your raise hand button, press it for me. I won't make you right or wrong if you don't do this, but it's good to see how it works. And then it should say lower hand, and you want to press it one more time so your hand goes down. Very good. Very, very good. Why this is important is sometimes there's a couple of people that can understand the information that Kerry or Phil give, and they may keep working to give more bits of information, and eventually somebody's hand will go down and we'll be left with one person. And if you have an opportunity to work with Kerry or Phil, your job is simple. Be honest. We've got to trust you. Be honest. They have strong shoulders, so you can tell them the truth. All we need you to say is yes, no, or I don't know. Yes, meaning I understand the information that you're giving about the loved one in the spirit world. No, meaning I have no idea what you're talking about. Of course, there's I don't know. What happens far too often with people having medium readings is they're so excited, they volunteer so much information, and they may leave the reading thinking, did that medium bring through my loved one, or did I give that information? So we want no doubt that it is definitely the spirit world working with our mediums. So just say yes, no, or I don't know. There's always, I don't know, 150, 200 people that come to our Sunday gathering. So clearly not everybody gets a reading, but it's less about who gets the reading and it's more about the message and proving the existence of our loved ones surviving. I think it's really great, even if it's not our loved one, to listen in to the kind of information they give. Listen in to just how close they are. Listen in to the messages that come through, because you might say, I could use a little bit of that myself. They know who they're talking to. They know who is in this Sunday gathering. So that's really all there is to it. It's a special part of our Sunday gathering. Our loved ones, yes, they have jobs they do in the spirit world, and yes, they continue learning and experiencing, but they're just a breath away. They can multitask. Oh, Sandra's thinking of me. Let me just hop on over to her. It's as easy as that. There's no time or space. They can be right with us. So we're going to play a piece of music. It's a new song to me, but it's got a nice tune to it, but it also has some very powerful words on trust. So if you want to just imagine your loved ones, they're all looking at the screen with you, all cozied in. They're with us. They enjoy this, I believe, just as much as we do. So imagine them with you. And again, imagination is the key to the kingdom, because that's how they communicate. And let's listen to this, another wonderful song picked by Darren. And then we'll be back with our medium demonstration of Kerry and beautiful song, wasn't that? I hope you enjoyed that. Well, we have a Mr. Phil Dykes in the seat. I guess he's going first. Hi, Phil.
Yeah, I'm going first as Darren ordered, sort of thing. It's all about trust, isn't it? Okay. Or should I say, isn't it? As we blend with the spirit world and we work with what they give us and hope it makes sense to somebody. So here we go, full trust, 100% trust on what happens here as well. Okay, so just as I trust that spirit world, I'm hearing the name of Peter, and I do get the feeling with Peter that he is father. I also know father can be a bit of a joker as well, and I also feel that dad Peter would have passed with a heart condition. I feel it was a heart attack, but I also feel with that sense of humor, he could be a bit of a joker as well. So I have dad. His name is Peter. I know he passed with a heart attack, I feel, but I know it's that sense of humor that he keeps on bringing in.
Lovely gentleman. All right, friends, who can understand this information? If you would be so kind and press your raise hand button.
So as always, we give it a second just to see as people listen. So I'll just repeat it. I do feel I have father. I do feel his name is Peter. I do feel that he passed with a heart condition. And I know it's a really good sense of humor he has as well.
All right, Lisa has her hand raised. Lisa?
Hi, Miss Sandra. Hello, Phil. I
Hello,
tried
Lisa.
to wait for quite some time, but since no one raised their hand, I figured I would raise mine. I can take
Okay.
in all the information.
So your dad is Peter. He died of a heart attack and had a really good sense of humor.
Everything but my brother-in-law, which is my father-in-law's son, is Peter, and he was here yesterday.
Okay, so let's just see if anyone else comes forward. So the name of Peter doesn't sit with father, but it is somebody that you know and he was with you yesterday.
It was my father-in-law's son.
Okay, that's fine here. And nobody else is coming forward. So just stay there a second, Lisa, because before I go there, I need to do a couple of things. If I'm wrong with the relationship, somebody would understand the name of Peter in the spirit world would have passed with a heart condition, but I know he's got a really good sense of humor. Let's just stay there for a second, Lisa.
Okay, thank you, Phil. So it may not be father. If anybody can take this other information or give the information about it being father, raise your hand, please.
Please raise your hand.
I can hear somebody in the background say, please raise
That's
your hand.
Lisa.
That's
I know,
me.
that's absolutely fine.
Okay.
So we've got a couple of people with the hands up, okay? So we're going to, can you bring, is it Catherine in as well, please? Kip,
I
better
think
known
it's
Kip.
Kip.
Okay,
Yes,
that's
the other
fine.
hand went down. Kip, if you could raise your hand and, unmute yourself. Yes.
So I'm going to have Lisa and Kip with me just for a second, because I do feel I want father in the spirit world, and I do feel here that he had a really good sense of humor. He could be quite embarrassing.
Yes.
Does that make sense to Lisa or Kip?
Yes.
It
Yes,
does to
Lisa.
Lisa.
Kip.
Okay.
Sorry, I can take it as well.
You can tell that's up. Don't apologize, because this is what it's all about here. But would you understand where dad could be quite embarrassing, but he would deliberately embarrass you?
So this is my daughter's father-in-law. He just died this week, and I can take it. Yes.
That's fine, because it just feels here that it's that sense of humor that I want to work with for a second. But I know, just want to check in here, it was his heart that took him over to the spirit world.
Yes.
That's fine. Lisa, can you wait in the background? I feel I'm with Kip here.
Yes.
Would you understand, Kip, with the father, with your whoever you said it was, it feels where he would go out of his way to lighten up the room. Everyone knew he was there.
Yes.
Because it just feels here that my sense of humor goes over the top at times. But I want to say he was quite free, and he was quite, what's the word I'm looking with? He was quite accepting that he could embarrass people, and he loved entertaining people.
Yes.
Because there's just this impression that I want to go with, even though I know my passing is serious, it's that sense of fun. So I know he could tell jokes in front of people, Kip.
Yes.
And those jokes will be quite close to the knuckle as well.
Absolutely.
Because it feels I want to be a little bit rude. It feels like I want to be a little bit risque. And it feels where the more risque it is, the better.
Yes.
Because it's all about getting people's reactions. It's all about getting people's attention as well. And I want to say there should be memories with this gentleman, Kip, where you would remember people crying with laughter.
His sons did, yes.
That's fine, because I know here it should be about crying with laughter, not just at the joke, but oh my God, did he say that?
Correct.
Because again, it feels where I want to be. And if I said that he could be quite flirtatious as well,
Yes.
because it feels like I want to be cheeky with the women, and I had to be careful because I've got my wife at the side of me, but it feels like I want to give him a nudge and a bit of a wink and almost go too far, but I know where the boundaries are.
I understand that.
That's fine. But I also feel here there must be memories with him where he got a little bit worse for wear, where alcohol was concerned as well.
Not when I knew him, but I heard
Not when-
that.
You've heard that. That's fine, because I know here is bringing all these memories back, and it feels where even, and I have to say this, doesn't matter if he had alcohol or not, I feel he was just the same.
I wouldn't know that comparison, but
Okay, bear with me then. If I said to you that he was somebody that lived life, he wanted to make the most of life.
absolutely, yeah.
Because it feels where I want to tell tall stories, but I don't feel that tall, because it feels like he would live them.
Yes,
Because it feels where I would go out, and if I'm right with this, he would go talk about such things where he used to love to go out walking in nature.
I don't know that.
Then bear with me. Would you have been told story? In fact, if I'm not with him, would it be right, Kip, saying that you sometimes take yourself out into nature?
Yes,
And would I be right in saying there's been times when you've gone out and you've met wild animals?
yes,
Because it feels here where I'm telling tall yarns, but it feels like I want to speak about somebody that's taken themselves out, and I'm trying not to use certain words, but it feels like we should know better. We've gone out and we've come across bears or cougars or mountain lions.
yes,
Because it just feels where he wants to joke and laugh and say, it's not just me that does daft things. So I know it's his way of coming forward here as well. But if I said people wouldn't talk negative about this gentleman as well.
yes, around a certain issue, yes.
Because it just feels here that I want to stay positive where I can. And I know people have a lot of loving memories about him.
Yes,
And I also know that with him, there are certain things in life he wished he'd done better.
yes, that's for sure.
And I know that is very personal, because as I questioned it, he shut me out. So I know here there's things there as well. And I know the reason he just wants to come forward. Bear with me a second. Would I be right in saying one of his son's birthdays is coming up soon?
Yes, yes.
Because he's just said, tell him happy birthday.
Oh,
And I'm
okay.
so sorry that I'm not there for him. So I know it's just his way of saying, I do feel he was a real loving father, and I know his kids and everything meant the most to him, and that's why he's mentioned this. But it feels like he would have had things done in advance. So there must have been either cards prepared and presents bought already.
I don't know.
You
It's
don't know?
2 days from now, 2 days from
Okay,
now.
well, let me know when you find out that to be
You know-
true, because I know that it's just his way. He also could be quite frank as well, and to the point and direct.
Yes,
Because it feels like if he didn't like you or he saw something he didn't like, he would voice it.
yes, he would.
Because that's fine. I can't repeat. If I said one or two of his words were not always politically correct as well.
Absolutely.
Because I know there's things here I'm hearing. I thought there's no way I can change these, no way I can say them, because I know it would offend people as well. But I want to say this, even in the presence of ladies, he would still use particular language, but it wouldn't be as bad as his normal vocabulary.
I don't know. I was a lady, so.
Okay, well, you know where he was a little bit naughty then with his language.
Yes, he was.
That's fine. So it's all about fun. It's all about letting the family know that I'm A-OK. I have got there because I know sons and family have been asking questions. What's the spirit world like? And I know this is why it's come forward as well. That's fine. I would also be right in saying you would understand a gentleman in the spirit world called John as well, Kip.
Yes.
Because I know he's not on his own, he's together with John, and I know here it feels. And would I be right in saying your father was called John?
Yes.
Because I know here he just said it's dad, so I know it's almost what I want to say is together with dad, and I know there's a lot of admiration for you, Kip, for your spiritual growth, and I know today is about trust, and I'm hearing your dad say, trust more. There is a plan, there is an intention for you and your development, and I'm going to leave that for you, Kip, and say
Thank you so much.
You're
That's
absolutely
lovely.
welcome. It's
Thank you.
absolutely perfect to speak to you. Thank you, Kip. Thank you.
Thank you, Kip. Thank you, Phil. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. As I become aware, ladies and gentlemen, once more of the spirit world, I keep on hearing a particular name, and it feels like I want to reach. In fact, bear with me, ladies and gentlemen, just by question this for a second. No, that's fine. Okay, I know I have mum in the spirit world. I know she's got an amazing faith and belief in the religion of being a Catholic. I do feel here as well, the person I want to speak to would understand the name of Sonia as a friend. And I just believe here that mum passes with the cancer, and I know I want to speak to daughter who was sat with her as she passed. And I know here as well, it feels where mum asked you to keep promises of looking after other members of the family as well.
Thank you, Phil. All right, friends, who understands this information, press your raise hand button, please. No hands have gone up yet, Phil.
That's absolutely fine. Okay. I actually want to go a little bit further, and I want to say mum's name was Margaret as well, because I keep on hearing it over and over in my mind. So I know I've got mum, I know her name's Margaret, I know she passed of cancer, I know there would be a friendship to the person I want to speak to of a lady called Sonia. I don't believe it's the daughter's name, but I know somebody would understand that name. And I feel that mum passed in hospital, and I know the person I want to speak to was sat with her, and I know mum couldn't converse at the end, but I know it's all about interacting and speaking to mum.
We're waiting patiently for that raise hand button. That's why you see just this look on our faces. No hands up, Phil.
I'm hoping nobody's gone for a cup of tea at this point, because I can't change any of it. I do feel I'm still with mum. I still feel her name is Margaret. I do believe there was a cancer. I do believe that daughter was sat with her as well. I'm just going to ask the spirit world. And I do believe that either mum's passing was in this month of September as well.
Thank you, Phil.
Now, if somebody understands this where I've made a slight mistake, just put your hand up and let me know. Either that or somebody's running around the house saying, mum, mum, whoever. Yeah.
All right, so if you can understand most of the information, press your raise hand button.
And we'll work with it.
Yeah. Or you forgot this, I feel like this is me. Okay, Laura's got her hand raised. Let's bring her in and we'll see what she understands. Hi, Laura.
Hi.
Hello, Laura. Do you understand what I've said?
Yes. So there's a couple differences, but I was sat with mom while cancer was taking her. She was stepmom.
Ah,
So
she was,
that's,
okay.
and the
It's,
other names don't resonate yet. The Margaret does, but
Sonia doesn't.
yeah,
That's fine,
correct.
because we can work with that. So you understand Margaret, though, to be within the family.
Yes.
That's fine, because I know here I can't change certain things. I did feel it was mother, but I can go with mother-in-law or the stepmother, okay? But
Yeah.
you were sat with her just as she passed.
Yes, passing, correct.
That's fine, because and where you were sat with her, she wasn't able to converse with you.
No, that's correct.
Because I feel you were sat with her, you were holding her hand, and not just
Yes.
holding it, but squeezing it as well.
Yes.
And if I said that she was a strong-willed lady, I want to say that this illness was with her for some time.
Yes.
Because it feels here with her. And if I want to say she never gave up, she held on as long as she could. Because I get the impression that it's just this sense of a fighting spirit with her, where she wanted to beat it and see how to, almost where I want to say that this was a long battle with it.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. But if I also said, even though I said she was in the hospital, she did want to be at home.
Yes.
Because I know there's about being at creature comforts at home and wanting to go her own way, but I know situations took over.
Yes, correct.
That's fine. Even though I know she's, as you said, mother-in-law, would I be right in saying, though, you still had, she looked at you like her own daughter?
Yes.
And if I said she confided things in you as well?
Yes.
And if I said that she told you to look after other members of the family?
Yes.
Because it feels where I want to be reminding you of promises. I know you've kept them, but I know it's not been easy, Laura.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
But I also know that she was a very sentimental lady as well.
Yes.
And I know she liked to have people's trust, and I know she trusted in you. If I said
don't know,
shared,
but I hope.
Bear with me. If I said that she confided things in you about the family.
Yes.
Because I know this is where that trust is concerned. And I know here it's all about bringing that impression forward, because I know you saw her last words out and you're still keeping those promises.
Yes.
Bear with me. Would I also be right in saying that you didn't just sit with her, you took care of her personal care as well?
Not so much.
Bear with me. If I said that you made sure she looked right while she was in hospital?
Yes.
Because I know this is, if I said her appearance and the way that people saw her was important, not in a vanity type of way, but I know it's, and I know you did that for her. I also know she's a very sentimental lady and a very gentle lady underneath.
Yes.
And I know here, I want to say from her that she had a really big soft spot for you, and she saw a good thing when she did. Would I be right in saying at the beginning of your relationship with her, she wasn't one for trusting?
Yes.
Because I know she says, I don't trust easily, but once I got to know you, I trusted you implicitly as well. Okay. And I know it's all a very personal message for thank you for that care at the end. And also thank you for what you did for me and the words you've shared for me to the family.
That's so beautiful. Thank you.
I'm going to leave her love with you and say thank you very much, Laura.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That means so much to me.
You're absolutely welcome. You're absolutely welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
I forgot to mention to Laura about the Sonia. I know that the memory, the name of Sonia will be remembered. The penny will drop. That's fine. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. I want to talk about Mum in the spirit world. I know as I work with Mum, there will be a memory in fact, I still feel it's been kept. There should be a teddy bear with one eye missing that was given to you by Mum, and I know there's that eye missing, and I feel there's either been clothes made by Mum for that teddy bear as well, but I just feel with Mum that I want to say that she was so family orientated. She loved having the family around her. And I know birthdays, I know anniversaries were big things for her. And I want to say it's either Mum's anniversary that's just passed as well.
Thank you, Phil. All righty, who understands this information? Let's see. We have two people with their hands raised.
Okay, good.
Julie and Jay.
Okay. But I also want to say with the teddy bear, like I said, there should be the clothes made, but the clothes should be kept as well. I do feel where they're kept is in a box with other artifacts belonging to Mum, such as papers and everything else. I do believe as well with Mum, where she lived, was the end of a road. It's almost like I want to be on the corner of a road. And I know I could see in the distance or not too far away a church, but I just feel here, and there would be a school nearby as well. And I know Mum would be that centre of the community as well.
We have Jay with the remaining hand. Hi, Jay.
Oh, hey, how are you?
Great.
Hey, how you doing, Jay? Do you understand everything I've said?
Except that I don't have the teddy bear. I've been trying to locate it, and my siblings aren't telling me beans about anything. So
okay, don't tell me anymore then, Jay. Okay.
Yeah.
Understand where there was a teddy bear given to you, you knew there's an eye missing, you know there's other artifacts that you've got, but you understand where I said Mum lived and everything.
Yes, on a corner, and the school that she went to and I went to was located next to the church she went to.
Haha, fabulous. So I know here it's just Mum's. If I said that Mum got a little bit confused before she passed as well.
Probably.
Because I know here it's almost like I want to prove my mind is straight. So I know there was that confusion there. But if I also said that your Mum loved having the family around.
Absolutely, yes.
Because it feels where I want to celebrate if I can every day. And I want to go as far as saying every month there was a celebration, there was a birthday or some kind of anniversary.
Probably, yes.
Because again, I just got this excitement. And if I'm right as well, Mum would have kept like a little address book with all the dates and everything in.
Probably, yeah. Very organized.
Because I just feel that she was organized, but I also feel with Mum, it's not just the family, it's the memories and the mementos, like the photographs and things as well.
Yes. Yep.
And I want to say that she must have had her Mum's photographs, because I can see the old black and white ones, but I know the colors distorted.
Yep, absolutely.
And I feel where I want to go back where she used to live, which was the school and the church. I want to say she knew that a lot of people in the community.
Yep.
And I also know she had that open door policy where the neighbours and locals could come in who knew her.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
And would I be right in saying that Mum would have stayed on the doorstep watching you go into that school?
I don't recall that, but it's possible.
Because I know Mum seemed to oversee everything. And if I said that Mum knew everything that was more or less going on in that area as well?
Probably.
Because I know she seems to know all aspects of little gossip and things like that. But have I also said with your Mum, she was very sentimental?
Absolutely, yes.
Because I know it's not just about the photographs, there's cards and different things, and she would have kept them all as well.
Yep.
That's fine. But I also feel as well that she would have had in the living room one of those like chest of drawers with the drawers in, that she kept the immediate photographs of the family.
Not recalling a chest.
Bear with me.
But-
No, it's like I'm sorry, my language probably it's like a chest of drawers where there would have been a piece of furniture with the drawers in.
Like a built-in bureau.
Like a bureau or a side
Yes.
drawer. That's
Yeah.
fine, because I know she kept all the family mementos in there as well. And I also know that Mum liked to go through the photographs as well.
Yes, she did.
And it's almost like I want to almost go on repeat, going through them, telling everybody who they are. But I feel she did this with everybody quite a few times.
I don't know, but I do know that she would go through them.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Would you understand towards the end, she was a very independent lady and didn't ask for help?
No.
Jay, bear with me 1 second. Would I be right in saying that you helped Mum before the end? It's almost like I want to say that you looked after her.
When I would visit.
No,
Yes.
There's something, bear with me. Let me work with this for a second with your mum. If I said that your mum can be strong-minded.
I think so, yes.
Because I know here she's quite stubborn. She won't move away from this. It just feels where she liked to do things under her own steam in her own way.
Yeah, probably.
Because I get that impression from her, because she won't move away from it. But I just get that impression with Mum. She's just come forward to bring a lot of memories and upliftment with you as well. And would I be right, Jay, saying you've still kept cards and photographs of things of your mum's?
Yeah.
Because I know here, and I also know, because I want to go back to that teddy bear, it's almost where I want to stick to my guns and say it is packed away in a box and it will come across. And I know where you've been asking for it, it will be given.
That
Okay?
would be great. Thank you.
I'm going to leave your mum's strong-mindedness, and bear with me 1 second. Would I be right in saying in the family, people have not been talking as they did?
Yep.
Because I know Mum says, I'm coming to sort out, and that's where I feel that teddy bear is. I'm going to leave her love with you and say thank you very much for allowing me to do that for you, Jay.
Thanks very much. It means a lot.
Welcome. You're absolutely welcome. And ladies and gentlemen, it's an absolute pleasure to work with you all. I'm going to hand back over to the lovely Sandra Champlain.
Thank you very much, Phil. And you can see just how close our loved ones are, really, truly. I just recorded episode 400 of We Don't Die Radio and have episodes 142 of We Don't Die Radio. I know with Darren, Kerry, and Phil, we've given our life really about the reality of the afterlife so that we can live our lives and we can live powerfully. Just want to tell you a few things. I know we got some newcomers here. WeDon'tDie.com is our home base. If you scroll to the bottom of the page, if you're not yet on the mailing list, sign up. You'll get a free copy of my book, We Don't Die. It's Skeptic's Discovery of Life After Death. And why that's important is chapter 10 is about grief, how to survive grief, how to move through it. There's things I can almost guarantee that you don't know about grief, and things that will really help the journey, the process, help you feel better, and so much more. So that is my gift to you. Also, you'll see on the front page there the latest episodes of the podcast. I just recorded one, Coffee Time with Sandra. It's really as if you and I just met randomly at Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts, and you happen to say something about the afterlife. So in a very short conversation, it'd be what I would tell you why I believe it's kind of entertaining. It is entertaining. It's good. Also, I interviewed the great Kurt Blackson this past week. He is a modern day inspirational everything. He's got a couple books out, and it has one powerful conversation about life, death, grief, living life powerfully. It's good. This week, great things coming up. First of all, you can join anytime our medium classes. We have Mondays with Scott, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays with Kerry and Phil. Of course, all details are at wedon'tdie.com. You can sit for an hour with Scott Milligan on Tuesday for Sitting in the Power Hour. On Friday, Scott and I are together for our Sitting for Healing, followed by a demonstration of trance mediumship. Our good friend Sonia Rinaldi will be back telling us her latest experiments, getting images and videos from the afterlife. That will be August 13th, just after the Sunday gathering. Our tutors are hitting the road. They will still be online doing the classes, but they're squeezing in some live events. So you can see Kerry and Phil live if you're in England, Ontario, Canada. They'll be just outside of Toronto. They'll be in New Jersey later on this year. 2024, they've got Australia, New Zealand, New Mexico on the horizon. You can go to their website, which you can see on their screen, which is mymediumship.com, and just look for events. Of course, our friend Scott Milligan will be traveling to the Netherlands in October. November-ish, he's going to be in New Orleans and also back in New Orleans in April of 2024. So when you go to wedon'tdie.com, there's different tabs you can press on top. One is for Kerry and Phil, one is for Scott, also one is for the podcast episodes, one is to join our Facebook group, meet your fellow Sunday gatherers, of course. And of course, on the Sunday Gathering page, you can watch almost all of the past Sunday gatherings. If you need a little shot in the arm of inspiration, we are there for you by recording also. I think that's it. A shout out to our friends who have donated to our Sunday gathering to make it possible. It all helps, you guys. It really does, and it makes a difference. So thank you. So I'd like to pass it over to Kerry and Phil for some words for the week, their take on trust.
I've just been reading some of the comments and the thing, and somebody saying I've got sunburn. It's just extremely hot in here for some reason. We don't know why. But it's an absolute pleasure to be here and share some words of trust. And I've got to admit, that first video really struck a chord with me. I forgot all about it. I've seen it a few times. And he's got a wonderful sense of humour, the way he brings things across at times as well, his examples. But it's something he mentioned about trusting those. I've always had a philosophy that the people we trust them 200%. But we also understand that people like different things. And for instance, ice creams and things. Our favourite might be chocolate, but we might want to try raspberry or strawberry or vanilla or something. And we might question people for their actions at times, but actually they've got that right to try different things. They have that understanding. They've got to learn and grow. So we can't blame people for that. But as the guru said, and Darren and Sandra, sometimes when people repeatedly do things, we've got to accept that's just who they are and they're on their own journey, and we should not judge them. We should have open arms to them because that's who they are. But we mustn't forget those lessons, that we trust in people because we see those good qualities within them. And that's what makes us happy. So sharing time with people, we must choose those people that make the best life for us and allow us to lead our best lives and to be true to who we are. But understand that people have their own journeys and will make their own mistakes, not intentionally to hurt you, but actually because it's part of their life experience and learning. So if we can remember that, and we can remember that we're on our own journey and that we are seeing the best qualities in each other, but knowing that along that journey, they have to take little avenues, little roads off to find themselves even more. And then they're able to stand up and they're able to share their truths. And maybe, as we know, as we've all probably done in the past, where we turn around and said, I know that might have hurt you, but I'm truly sorry. It wasn't intentional. So actually, trust can be regained. Trust can be what's the word I'm looking for? Re-earned, if you will. And the more that we can have that open mind, open heart, and see the best in people, but remember every lesson that we go through, that's what trust is really about. So, ladies and gentlemen, trust those around you 200%, but know they have their own little avenues to explore and go down. And don't hold judgment or harshment towards them, but accept that it's their journey and their understanding.
So I'm not going to add too much to that, because I think we've heard so much today about trust. All I would add is trust your journey. Things are tough at times. Things are really, really pleasant at times. Don't trust that it's meant to be the way it's meant to be when the good times come, and not trust when the tougher times come. Trust that all is as is meant. Please join me in prayer. Divine and ever-present Spirit, today as we explore trusting self, trusting others, trusting fate, and trusting our journey, we understand and fully appreciate that power, that creative power of all that's around us, offers us the freedom of choice. That freedom of choice allows us to take action, but also requires for us to take accountability and responsibility for what our actions are. For that to be fully encompassed, we have to trust self. We know that this journey can be tough at times, but the more we begin to build a trust in ourselves, the less we require trusting in others. Those that we do fully. But when we question, that trust in self will be our guiding light, for we know that light within ourselves is that light of the divine, that light that comes from the creation of all, that creative force of life. So this week, learn to trust in self. And once you do, never let go. Amen.
Thank you very much, Kerry. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Darren. Thank you to you all at home or wherever you are today. Thank you to our friends in the spirit world. We're going into our closing. It's usually a song, but these are some motivational words about trusting the timing. Very powerful. Here we go. It's like the cherry on top of the cake. Ladies and gentlemen, we love you. We appreciate you. We thank you. And just trust. We are here for you for sure. Have a great week. We read all your messages in the chat box. We love you for it. And I have nothing else to say. Mwah. Bye, everyone.
Miss Sandra, we have a little announcement to make.
You do?
We do. One of the contacts that said the father, Peter, stepfather, couldn't have bought the presents. We've just got an email saying if she's found out that the presents were bought before he died. So I just thought I'd add that little bit in.
That's great news. It's always such great confirmation when you find out after the fact. Well done. We love you all. Thank you so much. See you soon.